your
to go.
table. Look at how disgusting this table looks.
Yeah.
It's just moisture stain.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
It's not working. Laptop. Bro, I can't get on emails, I can't get. And then on my phone, it had kicked me out and it gave me a new email, a new password. So I have to reset that also. I started at 9. Thank you.
All right, thank you. See you in a second, I'm here. Just got to my meeting, so I'll talk to you later. Thank you, Sheila. Who did? What did you do? What did you miss it? Are you serious? Oh my God. Oh my gosh, seriously? Oh, gosh.
Yeah, 106, okay, perfect. Let me ask Christina if she has oh. Very good. Thank you for making it.
I tried.
Oh, good, yeah. It's. So I was gonna ask if you wanted anything else. All right.
I really appreciate it.
No, problem. I'm going to try to get a sign.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh,
How are
hi,
you?
good, how are you?
Right.
I know. If you remind what's past, I don't know what I wanted to do.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you.
All right, and if anybody needs, we have the agendas here. It's actually right on the back if you flip it around.
Thank you.
You got one, you have one. Oh, you printed yours, okay.
I printed mine.
It's the same. Yeah, I printed a couple of extras just in case.
Are you? Oh, very good, man.
Printed this for you just in case. It's another public comment.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm. And then I believe should be one of them.
Okay, yeah, we are.
If you'd like an agenda, they're right there,
Sure, thank you
right
very
on the back
much.
of that sheet. Absolutely. See here. Okay, it says live. Pass to unmute. Can you hear me? It's coming up down here, so I want to say that's a yes. Oh, I'm muted.
Oh, Christina, is the other public comment from Harry here, or if not, I have it. I just gotta run and get it.
Oh, I did not print that one. Do you want me to run up and print it?
No. I can get in 30 seconds. Can I come through this door?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Thank
I'll
you.
go ahead and.
Lane options.
Hmm?
View last meeting, it was lane options.
I don't remember it being described as lane options.
Okay.
Obviously, we're having problems at that guard gate, so.
Well, there's an issue with the
Yeah,
middle lane.
The middle lane.
closed.
Yeah, it's been closed for a long time.
yeah.
Closed because you read your sun pass.
Oh.
The
So it opens up for anybody.
you open you with a sun pass. Okay.
The new gates that we put on the arms that light up, those are fun. But what happens is we have the equipment is old, so the area of the equipment that reads doesn't read it. It reads it, it also reads some passes. So. I wonder if we can. Yeah.
No, they said there was something.
Good evening, everyone.
Jeremy, are you on?
This is Christina, I'm assuming?
Yes. I was leaving that chair in between, that's why I mean.
Yeah, also in the corner. I have no problem with that.
Why
No,
not?
no one puts baby in the corner, right?
Well,
Anybody got the movie quote? No?
but I can move.
No, it's all right.
Listen, yeah, so there'll be enough room for
Yeah.
spacing. Social distancing would be appropriate.
I also left my mask on. We'll grab that real quick. Good to see everyone again, though.
Good to see you.
I believe Christina will take the laptop and we have form so we can get this party kicked off. No, nothing's going up there.
Yeah, it's on. They can hear me. They can hear.
Okay, I'm just gonna grab my mask. Good to see you again.
This is great. You don't have to pass the mic anymore. We don't have to press the button and talk into it.
We're back to being normal.
Yeah.
Kinda. Oh, yeah, we're normal.
We're not elected. I can't be elected once a year.
Christina, tell me anytime you're ready to go.
I guess we can get started since we have a few public comments to read. I would like to start us off with just saying a few words. If you want to open the meeting and then I'll say.
Okay, sure. Okay, this is the section 1, guard gate, the Thursday, October 14th meeting, and it is 5:35. And just about, let me just check for quorum. Let me go down the list here. Well, you want to just say who's present?
Mirabel Bobbin, Alexandra.
Suzanne Sonyal, like Cynthia.
James Curry, we got that.
Where's Foster? Oh, I am sorry, Laura.
Xiomara Castillo de Anchorage.
Okay, and Boris Foster, Lakeland. And so, we have 5, so we have 4.
Yes, we do.
Okay, the meeting can begin. Please, go ahead.
All right, so just for recording purposes, if anyone wishes to just state your name prior to speaking. That way the record could reflect exactly who is making, who's saying something. And same thing with motions and seconds, just say name, I second the motion, just to make it easier for recording purposes. I know that when the secretary is listening to the meetings and they hear words, but since they're not present, sometimes it's difficult to determine who is saying what. So if we can just clearly state your name when you make a motion, second, and when we vote for the motion, state your name as well if there's any opposing. I think that was.
Okay, that's it. Okay. Okay, good. Let me look at the agenda here. And I wanted to say something, but I'll wait until the end just in case anybody else joins us. Not just about the, well, not new business, just really, this is reply all emails, which I think is replying all is a little bit dangerous when we're doing emails, when other committee members are part of it. Well, I'm saying it, so let's just do it now.
Mhm.
I know there was 2 instances where there was reply all used to, and it was involving committee members, which we just got to be careful of because we shouldn't be having any communication about any committee matters. And although that really wasn't a committee matter, something that we're going to be voting on, but it just starts us down the road of having everyone, it becomes a meeting when we start communicating with other committee members. And again, that wasn't something that was probably going to be voted on, although I would say in the end, I had to call Christina and say, are we going to have a meeting or not? Which was kind of, because I wasn't sure because of the last email that made it sound as if something, there was maybe a change. So I just wanted to say anything we have to say, let it go through Christina, and then Christina can respond to each of us and just keep it clean. I think reply all, when we are all on the, it's just, that's all I have to say. Don't do it. It's not going to lead to anything, especially with, there's been turnover and if we start responding to each other, that's not a good thing.
Absolutely, and I'll chime in on that as well. Boris is speaking about the calendar invite. I know that it helps to keep it on our calendar as a reminder. It also has the agenda attached to it, so I know that a lot of the committee members are really, for it. So I don't have a problem to continue with those as long as we don't start the communication. Again, like Boris said, we don't want anybody to be confused about a meeting or whether it's happening or not. So the calendar invite is not for response purposes. When I message you guys as BCC, where you don't see who else it's pretty much sent to, you can respond to those if you cannot be in attendance for the meeting, or if you have any questions or items you want to add to the meeting, feel free to email me directly. So again, just don't reply all to the calendar invites.
And you know what I'm speaking about. I think, yep. Okay, we're all copied. Okay. Okay, good. I just wanted to mention that. The order of business deferrals, public comments. I think there were only 2, Christina. I had one.
Well,
from
did
Helen.
anybody want to
Oh,
do
I'm sorry,
any
Maritza.
No, I
deferrals,
don't have any
additions,
comments.
deletions?
Okay.
Item 3.
Oh, item 3.
Item 3 is still up for debate. So on this section, if there's any, typically if we have somebody coming to give a presentation or we have a certain item that needs to be bumped before another for any time reasons, this is the section where we'll. Or if you have an item that you already sought guidance, you already have an answer to, or the item is no longer is void, you can at that point delete the item. So that's something we have to make sure we get used to as far as adopting what our agenda is going to be. We come with the agenda prep, however, it can be changed at the time of the meeting, as far as the items that are already listed. Is that pretty clear?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Does anyone have any suggestions about the items that are listed for the meeting? So I guess we can go to public comments and we're to you. Okay. And there are the two public comments, I think you have one, and I'll just read through the other one second. Okay, this is from Harry. He's a resident of Lakeland. I'm not saying his full name because he's a law enforcement officer, and I believe he doesn't want his information made public. One item struck me as curious, so I thought I would ask you what you think. One question that will be considered at Thursday's meeting concerns the new guard gates and the new openers to operate them. That question being, if and who may receive free new gate openers. Personally, I fully expect that the entire cost of the new gate system, including gates, arms, openers, and attendant electronics, to be included in the taxing district's assessment for every homeowner living behind the gate. After paying for the new gate openers, is there some rationale for asking and expecting those same homeowners to pay again? Would it not be more appropriate just to mail the required number of replacement gate openers to homeowners to replace their old outdated openers? Like I said, that's from Harry. And that's the first written comment. The second is from Helen. And just read that into the record. Hello, my name is Helen Costa. I live on Glencairn Road and am a committee member and the current secretary of this committee. I cannot be present for this meeting as I am in a previously paid for and committed training. However, today's meeting is of vital importance. I obviously do not have the details that will be shared today, but I do have information shared at the last meeting, as well as what is noted on the agenda. Well, as we as a committee are entrusted with security, and anything less of what we had until recently when the middle lane failed is unacceptable. Every homeowner has been taxed and their funds are there to replace what has now failed. Removing the TransCore card readers is not acceptable and goes against what we are tasked to do, security. We need to install new RFI readers with today's technology, not yesterday's or 10 years ago technology. As for cards, transponders, or barcodes, I find that no one gets anything for free. I know owners that do not even have one, never got one, and use the visitors lane every day, all day. Purchasing a home permits the ability to get a transponder or barcode for a fee. It is of fundamental importance that the process of issuing transponders or barcodes be in a manner that can be tracked, managed, turned off, or deactivated when they no longer have the ownership or possession rights of the home beyond the gates. I am not sure of the correct language, but you turn in your car, for example, if it's a lease, the barcodes should be deactivated. Right now, we have no reasonable and feasible manner to know what has been issued to who, for what vehicle, etc. Because what the county turned over is just something that cannot be reasonably managed. But the process, okay, I'm sorry, skipped a line. But now we are forced to start fresh. I think the cards or the barcode should be monitored in a monitored manner with registration process that can be handled in a reasonable, manageable manner. There should be a process of updating and shutting down the transponder or barcode once person was issued to has no ownership or right of possession to that home beyond the gate. Security is our focus and our task. Thank you for listening.
Close the door so we don't have to hear every time. All
So
right,
that's the only one? That's only,
that's the only one that I received, yes.
okay.
All right, so for the lane options, we discussed briefly what the options would be for in the last meeting. I'll go over them again so that we could all be on the same page. One option would be to remove the TransCore reader from the center lane. Just removing it from the center lane. Now, that would mean only the newer click cards that you depress would work for that lane. We would need signage to make that known. But I know that, like Boris mentioned in the last meeting, it may confuse residents when entering if they have an older version and still try to access that center lane. So that is one option. Another option would be to remove the TransCore from both center and right, so that the only thing working would be the newer depressed click cards for both lanes. And then option 3, am I going too fast? Okay, I don't know, make sure I don't miss anything. And then option 3 would be to upgrade the system to with a new access control system that would require either the barcode or what I call it, a smart pass, a device that you do not have to depress, but could be inside the vehicle, and it would read and, what's the word I'm looking for?
Right.
It'd be a passive, yeah,
Like
it'd
the
be a smart
smart
pass. It'll be a passive way of entry. There will be no need for any clicking. As long as it is present within the vehicle and it can be read by the RFI reader, it's gonna be a passive way of entry.
Absolutely. So that option would require, well, that's one option. So those are the 3 options.
And with
then I guess
that, one thing just to clarify, and because it was brought up in public comment is, there is a different level of security in not having an access control system and having the gate arms reacting on their own with the current cards that were issued as of late. Those cards are simply talking to the gate versus having an access control system that actually logs each card and registers it within a system with it, which is mentioned in the public comments. So we can, at that point, if we wanted to institute this tracking when somebody leaves the residence, when there's a sale of a home and we want to deactivate cards, you would require an access control system in order to do that. The other thing to mention is those cards that are recently being used strictly to the gate arm are over the counter and can be purchased by anyone. The coding is select, you would need to know how to code it, but it is over the counter. So I just want to make sure that's clear on the 2 differentiations between options 1 and 2 that remove and only go to the current smart pass versus the complete replacement of the access control system along with new 2 RFI readers. Pretty clear?
Question.
Yes.
Basically, 2 and 3 are the same thing. They will just have
1 and 2.
different.
1 and 2 are the same, yeah. Just about. 1 only clears the middle lane, 2 clears both right and furthest right and center lane. 3 is the replacement of the both lanes.
But 2, you will get rid of the
The-
old card that
Correct.
opens now. So basically, again, these 2 require all new equipment. As far as the card, my card doesn't work.
2 as of maybe February of this year, all the cards as of February of this year are still going to be usable. It would still be applicable. 3, it's a complete restart.
But we're talking about the fact that that means that my old card is not gonna work on that.
Correct.
So that's
Correct.
why, that's like totally off the table. Because we're not gonna create this, line of people because they were confused. So that's really off the table. So what we're looking at here is 2 and 3, but they're 2 different systems, which I'm assuming one is gonna be more money than the other, and that's where the decision is made. Am I in the right?
Correct. But the only thing I want to clarify is they're not the same. Like, they are in the fact of the
We're changing
card.
everything, everybody has to change their card.
Correct,
But
that
right,
remains,
that's
that
what I
that would remain.
Right.
And then once again, not everyone, but a majority of the homeowners, I would agree with you. The majority of the homeowners would have to switch their cards for 2. 3 is a complete redo. However, 3 actually grants us the same level of security updated to today's time and technology to have access control, which means It's not just the coding of the card, but it's actually the management within a software system to maintain all of these different ID numbers. So when it does come time where we know somebody's moved out, we're made aware either by a sale, we'll have to come up with that mechanism. We can go ahead and deactivate. Because there are cases where we have new homeowners that call us, oh, previous homeowner didn't give me any card. I know that they had it because they told me there's a resident lane, but they never handed it over. So now that card is somewhere else in use. Rather they come back or don't come back, we don't know, but that's where the whole point of the new access control comes in. We can deactivate cards upon, and I think that's what Helen was also bringing along. We can go ahead and deactivate this card once we know somebody's left.
Jeremy, is there is there a cost to it to have the system monitoring the entry and log in each car as they come in, or just having it open because the card is present?
You have to run that by me again. The actual access control there's no subscription for it. It's a software that you open up and it's gonna have all your ID numbers that you've saved and allowed access to. That's all it's gonna do. That's all it's gonna do. But are you asking if it can register every car that comes in?
Yeah, as it seems Helen is suggesting that every car is registered, and what she's proposing, is there a cost to that greater than just having the reader in your vehicle and it opens once the reader is present in the vehicle?
No, it will go hand in hand. The reader will tie to the access control system.
So it's just really upfront coding it in, putting in all
Correct.
the names in the database.
Correct, and that's gonna be something that we're gonna have to do sometimes what you can do also is batch code. So you get the serial numbers of the first 20 or 30, and you can batch code all of those in order. And you'll say from serial code number 1 to 30 is already approved. And then as you issue them, we have to mark down what serial number goes to what individual.
Is at Royal Oaks or any other garden security gates district doing that right now?
So they're on the same boat. So they have the older RFI readers. And for the time being, we have issued, so the big issue came upon with the clickers. There was a supply chain issue. Well, we got an influx. We began to order those same lift gate because everybody has new LiftMaster gate arms. All of our communities have switched to the new gate arms. We started issuing that same clicker that is the over-the-counter one. Now, they still have their old readers as well within each gate arm. They're still functioning because they're not transport.
Okay.
So they have no issues. And now the supply chain has opened back up. We will be going back to the actual registered clickers that work on the access control.
Okay.
I mean, does anybody feel that really this is a secure issue? I mean, when you can make it harder for homeowners to get in than you are going to be for visitors. And one little glitch in all those little things you had, because I've had this problem with other things, that nobody could get in. You have one big mess, one little computer thing, a power outage. And I don't know, it just seems like if you have that visitor thing, I mean, I don't know, you seem like you guys are really working hard to make this thing really secure. There's no way, it's not gonna be secure. There's no way. I mean, people can get in there through the visitors, but out there's no, I mean, I go back to the original one where you had just license, you read everybody's license plate, at least you knew everybody was in there. You had license plate readers and make things real simple. But anyway, when I listen to this, I mean, everybody talk about making things secure. It's not, it never will be. As long as you have visitors come in there, left and right and go through there, and that's how you have to have it, because it's a road access to the people. You can't make it a private road unless you do. So why is making this more difficult for everybody than necessary? I mean, this is a false security, like, I just don't. I know I went for a couple of meetings, but I really don't understand the idea that the thinking of this is really going to be secure. And people, when they leave, they're going to be able to turn something in and then go back there, and all this is going to you're creating a bureaucratic nightmare.
And people just wanted it to work.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about to get in. And the reason I use the other one is because when the visitors backed up, at least you got where you can get through. That's what that's the real issue for most homeowners, just getting in
You
there.
just, you never get it. I mean,
In
I
other
want,
places, if you want to secure in your own area, you could put a gate out, like some people have a guard gate in their own particular area to get through. I don't,
I am one of the,
I mean, make it easy.
17% of people that voted against it
use the KISS
originally,
method.
because it's a false sense of security anyway.
Yeah, yes.
So that we do have it because the majority voted for it, but it is just something that just needs to work.
Yeah.
But
Great
do I think
numbers.
that more secure?
for you guys.
No. This is good when you have somebody there to go.
Sorry, I'm late.
You have
Okay.
somebody
Hi,
slide in,
Jeffrey.
get in, well, there's nothing there, but all the rest of the stuff is simple, it's just.
Well, my question on the called the passive entry. thing. And so if someone leaves, then what do they do with their entry? They can give it to the new owners?
That's ideal.
No, no.
That's
But-
ideal.
That's
But
what we're trying to
then-
do now.
How do you identify them by where they live? How do you identify?
And that's something that Helen mentioned as well. There is no process for it, because it's paper right now at this point. It's paper at this point.
That goes with the property.
Yeah.
So you really don't, you know,
It's basically the,
I don't
it's
know.
part of the keys of the house.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree 100% what James is saying. I mean, this is a public road. I mean, we're having this high false sense of security for the owners. Any visitor can't be stopped, they can come in, but we are updating systems and we just need a bug and then we can't get it through the owner's gate. So I don't know what the technology is. I was going to try and find out if if it was being used and what the reliability was, but it is really a false sense of security to think that we're going to be monitoring everyone, the owners coming in and out.
This just happened at the place I lived, they had a power failure over on the beach. Everybody that had the clicker, the computer that controls, everybody has a number, just like we were talking about. When you leave, they have that. Nobody could get in, and it was on a Saturday. So you had to try to find somebody to go back and find the computer. So there you're stuck. Fortunately, there was people that had to open the manually gates, but then people were stuck. It was just, it's a mess. And then trying to track it when you say you change owners and stuff like this.
that's.
And
what I-
there is no public access, so it's even,
It's
it
more
is
control.
a
More
secure.
control.
Here, with this public access, I just don't understand it.
If someone
Sorry.
leaves, they can just come back through the visitors.
Yeah, yeah, I know it. I know.
Yeah, boy, I'm gonna keep this to be able to come back here.
That's why I always thought when you read everybody's license, plate, at least you have control and you know who's coming. You don't know who's leaving because when you leave, you just go through the other.
Well,
gate.
through the license plate, you can get the car and the manufacturer.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Or is
you
it
got
just
some,
license?
What do we
you're
know?
taking a picture of
You're saying
something.
of a license plate reader?
Yeah,
There is no data that's maintained. The only reason anyone would ever be informed, and it wouldn't be any of us here that would be informed, I can't even go request information from police. The only time it'll ever alert is if there's an issue with the tag. At that point, and we wouldn't know about it. It would be an internal FDLE report that goes directly to law enforcement.
Exactly. That's what the discussion was. We would simply be subsidizing the police force because that information would never, we could under no circumstances get that information. There's an exception there to the public records request. We would never be able to get it. But as Jeremy said, if a car was flagged, a stolen car comes through, and that was on their priority, and they could come and
If there was a robbery, they didn't look at the video of.
They can, police can use
Yeah,
it
well,
for
that's the whole
detective
reason
work.
we want it. I don't want neighbors to be looking at it.
Right.
You only want
Yeah.
the police to look at this.
only that I know is.
Point of
Uh-huh.
order, I was just gonna say
Okay.
that
You can do
the
something.
LPRs are on the agenda for the
Yeah.
November meeting, so if we can go back
Okay.
to
I'm sorry.
option
I didn't
A.
But
It's relative, so I get it.
My only question with that before we go back is, I'm trying to get an understanding just for direction on staff's point. Is there a stance to then go away, is what you're looking for, James, to go away with the click cards and management of homeowner
Well, I'm
cards?
just saying, if you're gonna do it, make it simple for homeowners that they can get in and get it. I don't think there's any other way to do it is, like when you buy a home, when I bought the home, the other owners just gave me what they had. You know, there's no security, it just makes it easier to get in and out, and you're not, I don't know, just try to come up with something that's almost like the clicker, what we're doing now, but maybe have it where you say now, somebody could come in with the sun pass and don't need it.
Well, that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the
the
issue. We're
issue.
trying to get rid of that.
I didn't
Older.
know that existed.
That's where it goes to the later technology or
I
actually
mean,
newer
it's
technology.
something
getting
that,
into.
you know, I don't know if it's a clicker or you could put it on the car. or-
I just wanted
You know,
to,
had
see-
lights
I just
all
wanted to
over.
clarify, because as we talked about going away from what you guys think was false sense of security, which I understand because they're public roads. I wanted to see if you were talking about going to LPRs and removing the need for any clickers is what I
Well,
wanted to clarify.
I'm okay with that too, but I didn't, before, when that
Oh.
was discussed, there was other people that thought we needed
Well,
more of the protection there that.
well,
That's
it's not necessarily that, it's, well, and again, I want to get back to Jen, but in 10 seconds, no, the security, what we voted for was the guard gate system, to just open it up and have an LPR where it's just, we're there if a vehicle that is ping come through, we'll never have access to it. It's, to me, it's not a safety for us issue, it's for the police to catch criminals. And because they will have your license tag and they can come into the community. I'm all for getting criminals off the street, but I don't want the possibility of chases and other things occurring where I live. So that I don't want to pay for that. That's my thing. But again, I think we're getting off the item, which is the lane options and the three things that Christina has laid out, unless someone else wanted to, I don't want to just curtail this conversation, but eventually to get back to the lane options. Okay, so, that we stand point. The first item of business is lane options. Christina laid out three options. And
Do you want me to repeat them?
does any,
I think the only thing that may need to be said is the price
The
tag
pricing
fees,
component?
right?
Exactly.
So removal is gonna be minimal. So if we just deactivate, which right now, if I'm not mistaken, we can
The removal
deactivate,
of the transport,
but not even
that's just a labor charge.
at this
essentially.
point, but I wanna say we can even just cut the power and leave them for the time being and remove them later. The main thing is deactivating them, which is gonna be nominal. So even if we remove them, it's gonna be labor, a couple $100 to remove the system and the two readers, and that's it. And then it would be, the only cost on top of that would be switching the antiquated clickers to the new clickers. Which, like I mentioned, and I wanna make it clear, is that would mean there would be no access control at all.
And then, I'm sorry, you will need to have two different clickers?
No.
Only
we're
one
talking-
would work at that
Only one
point,
would work.
only the one that you depress, the newer ones that we've been using, the over the counter.
Yeah.
Only the ones that you depress, so anybody that does not have them, which would be the majority of the homeowners.
Homeowners.
Yeah, we've only
Yeah.
instituted those as of, I think the supply chain issues were like February is when we started seeing them.
so what would be the cost of distributing the new clickers to everyone
You're talking
versus,
about option A,
well, yeah, although.
It's option, well, that would be 1 and 2. Options 1 and 2 would incur the same
Correct.
cost.
that's true,
Versus, the third
No, wait.
option,
because option one
Oh,
only
remains
moves the center.
Correct.
So that means all the older ones would still be functional only on the
Correct.
far right lane.
Correct.
okay,
Does that make sense? Option one is only removing the transport from center only. That means center only is only those newer ones you press. All the older ones will still work on the far right lane.
Okay.
Could somebody with the older one come and get a new clicker?
If they want,
Will a
absolutely.
clicker work on the far right lane?
Yes,
So clicker work on both and only the
Correct.
older ones would work on the far right.
I'm sorry, it would not, because the access control would still be in place for the third one, and it would need to register with the access control.
No, he's talking about center lane and right lane.
Correct.
Both click cards work for center and right.
But in order for the right lane to operate, it would be the right lane would still have the old access control system in it, which means it would need to bypass that first. That clicker would need to get access from the transport reader first. Yeah,
I was talking about option one,
option 1, under option
when you
1,
remove the transport,
correct,
because right now, the clicker that you depress works in the resident lane. It works in the far right lane, because it communicates directly to the gate.
then I stand to be incorrect, so incorrect, that would work, it would
Okay.
work on
Yes.
both,
That's what I
yes.
was just asking.
Yes,
So could somebody with an old one come and get a clicker?
Could someone with an old one purchase a new
That would be
clicker?
purchasing.
Yes,
Yes.
that would be yes.
Someone can always purchase.
Mhm.
And that would, I'm sorry, that would give them access to both lanes, the center and the far
The
right.
newer one, yes,
With a new clicker,
yes.
it would work. Otherwise, if you have the old clicker, you have to use.
Right lane
the
only.
right lane.
Keeping in mind that the same issues we're having with the center lane now.
Down the
will
road.
Likely down the
Mm.
road happen with that far right lane as well. That's what happens with the older.
I got this, when you have two different ones, there's no doubt somebody's gonna pull in the wrong one, not working.
And then.
that was a
caused more-
concern
That
that
was
was
a-
brought
that was a
up.
major
Out of those
concern.
lanes, there's one chore
That was a
For somebody
concern that did come
behind
up.
them beeping.
So Priscilla, what is the getting, and just going in, getting the new technology, not waiting for the old one to break down? That's, let them, and doing one distribution of the new clickers, what would
Option
be?
3.
That would be
Option
option 3. That would be the
What's the
new
total?
access control system. The total for, there's 2 different totals for the board to consider. The new system and getting the new RFI readers put in place, that total is gonna come to $12,280.84.
Per or,
No, that is
Total.
for the both center and right lanes to receive the long range RFID readers, the reader mounts, the access control system, the power supply, electrical enclosure, and miscellaneous materials, as well as labor. This also includes training staff on how to be able to program remotely and track and program remotely.
Correct. That is so that in some
train
cases in the
us
back,
using the system.
with our old access control system, if we actually were having to pay every time we had to program batches of new cards. Under the new system, because we can go wireless and network it to a computer here, they're gonna train staff on how to do it, so that cost is no longer associated to the community. We will be managing it,
So
so
in the long run, you may save some.
you may save some money.
I would say in the short run, I mean, I thought it was gonna be a lot more, I mean. to
Well,
go in,
that is
fix-
just
That's just the
for
infrastructure.
the
Oh, okay.
infrastructure. So the other component to consider is if the board decides to,
Fund the first batch of new cards.
if it's 1 card per unit, per 841 unit, that first number is $3,040.38. So that means that if this is for 900 RFI reader cards. So if we wanted to say, okay, 1 per household, technically that's 841.
But
So-
then you're gonna have some individuals who recently purchased, who fall within the 90 days, they are technically allowed to get theirs replaced at no cost. That is part of everyone's clicker agreement.
Do we know how many of those you have given out?
We can look at it, but once again, that's going back to paper.
Well, you know what we did last
started.
time?
We started.
Last time, we had a lot of discussions, and we're back to a few things because we never did vote on it. So I think unless we need more information to decide whether we're going to option 1, 2, or 3, which is a replacement, I would propose voting on that, whether one of those 3 options, and then we can decide, because it is on the agenda, whether or not, how many to give out, if they're free. And
Correct.
at least we can move things along and not have to revisit this. at
Do
a
you just
later
want me to
meeting.
give you the ballpark number for 1 or 2? That way you see in the ballpark the amount that will be.
And I have to clarify, when she says 1 and 2, she means it's option 3, but either if we fund 1 card or 2 cards per household. She has those 2 prices. That's what
Oh,
she's
That's a
asking.
separate question.
That's a separate
But
question.
it's not times 2?
It's,
Essentially.
it's that.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
but she was gonna give you the total numbers.
I was
Okay,
just gonna give you
sure,
that total
please,
number.
please,
So if
yeah.
it's 1 per unit so for infrastructure and 1 card per unit, we're talking 15,321.67.
That's the total with the infrastructure and the cards, you said it.
One
Correct.
card. And now
For
with 2
2
cards,
units, for 2 cards per household, 18,364.12.
Okay.
So the second clicker
is an addition of
is
$3,000.
3,000.
Okay. Well, do we want to, is there any other discussion on options on the first item, the lane options, whether we want 1, 2, or 3, or can we Is there any other discussion or can I make a motion? And okay, then I would like to make a motion for item one, a lane option. Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say something, James. Okay, that that we vote to replace both the center and the right lane with the current technology that the board's looking at for
A new access
a
control
new
system.
access control.
And 2 new RFI readers,
Mm.
along with the potential new clickers.
Yes,
So the motion is for option 3.
yes,
I can second that.
thank you.
So just to clarify, Boris made the motion, just if you can state your name with the seconds and
Yeah,
Maribel Baldwin, second the motion.
any discussion? Further discussion at this point?
I just clarified to make sure my slow mind.
would you like him to repeat
No,
the
no,
motion?
Just so I understand, I mean, this means that both lanes would be the same. Everybody would have a clicker that would work each one. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That sounds like the easiest.
Yeah, they're the same, they're gonna be the same.
It was not like it, one or the other.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that, and it'll be a nice, simple clicker.
And it'd
And
be
we still
easier.
talk about reading everything and following. How about when some, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
well,
get into that.
and easier to communicate with the community.
Yes.
You need a
no,
new clicker.
definitely,
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
You get new
And the
clicker,
story.
new technology, new
Yes,
clicker, here it is.
exactly. And
Yeah.
the gates will
Make it
be
easy.
working.
Yes.
Yes.
Keep it simple.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second.
Susanna? Su-
I think they're ready to call a vote.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
did I call a vote?
Oh, no, I
Okay.
just meant,
Oh, no, are we ready? Yes, ready to call a vote?
Okay.
Okay. And all in favor? Anyone opposed?
seeing none, motion passes.
Motion passes.
Wow.
Easier.
That was the easy part.
It
Doesn't
was-
it feel like
I don't
a
want to
sit on our
Do you have the extra agenda there?
Yes, right over here is extra agenda.
So we did something right.
And
I'm
We're always
sorry,
doing
did
something.
did a
If
member
you're
of
always
the
here, you're doing
board,
something.
are you a member of the?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I wanted to, okay, sorry, I wanted to make
It's
sure.
just
we
as
read
important.
Attendance. and-
Member of the community.
No, may I ask a question?
Not at this time, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
public comments is closed.
I know I was late.
You can always request.
No, I'll come
to the chair.
I'm sure that everything, well, this is like Grand Monday.
It's like a soap
So
opera.
next month I'll be able to ask the same question all over again.
The
Yeah.
chair, they can always-
Yeah.
Sure, everybody's
You can
familiar with
also
Grand
email,
Monday.
yeah, you can also email me and we, you know,
You
I
prior
know it's a
to-
question that I would like to address with everybody
Okay.
present.
Okay.
Everybody here is a
All right.
member of one association, right?
Yes, that's right.
One thing,
Like Cynthia.
I mean, it's not on the, continue, I'm sorry, continue.
All right, so we have our motion for lane options. The second item is resident gate technology.
It's technically the same thing.
Yes,
So item
I
one
think-
is what you spoke about, and then what they just voted on is B, basically the resident lane. And then item C now is when we're getting to the amount of cards.
Right.
Or the card reader options, either the
Oh,
barcode
I'm sorry.
or the card. The card, you don't have to depress, that could be essentially, could be switched from card to card. You're right, your BMW today and your Honda tomorrow, all you do is put it
Your
in that
Ferrari
next
these
vehicle.
days.
And or the Ferrari. I like that as
I like the way
well.
you think too much.
So that is the next item to discuss, whether it's going to be a barcode that is like a sticker placed on the vehicle. That obviously, once you remove it, you would likely need to get new access.
And or if it's
So
damaged, scratched,
if you buy and sell your own car, a new car, you're gonna have to remove it and do all that stuff too. So-
Correct, if you
Right.
choose the barcode
and
option.
the vendor has already stipulated, that once you remove it, the adhesive is not, which is
Yes,
great.
that is so.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, just to be sure, do we need to, I know, I'm not- it's because I just don't want to keep doing this. Is it, do we need to, we heard what Jeremy said about the technology, and I think we all agreed, and it sounds like that. Do we need to formally vote, say we approve you going out and purchasing that technology?
No, that's
Okay, that was
everything is
part
done
of,
in
that
the-
was-
the
okay,
second
A and B, okay, I just want to
Mm-hmm.
be sure. Okay,
And then the card reader options, so the access card or the barcode is
I do
the.
that.
yeah, I think we discussed that and,
we just want to clarify.
Okay,
If we get
unless-
consensus, that doesn't even have to be in the voice of the matter. I just want to make sure that what I understood was It's not as secure. It could pose an issue down the road, especially if you lease your car. So I think the idea was to go, and that's what we priced at. We priced at the click card, at the smart pass
At the
card.
smart pass.
See, that's why I get you lease your card, so somebody has a lease card now can get in. Oh, I mean, they can go to the visitor's place and get in. So what the heck?
No, it means that you have to get a new one.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he's saying,
Yeah.
if you lease your car and you have it on there and you turn your lease card, somebody else leases that card, they could drive in through the
Technically.
residence.
If it wasn't
Instead of-
removed, but I mean,
If all the stars
usually,
align.
These vehicles,
Instead of
they
going
usually
to the
clean them
visitor
and-
thing, going through a little bit faster.
What, Suzanne, what you were saying?
I think the residents are used to having,
The smart pass.
yes.
I would
and-
agree.
And it'll be easier and
It'll
simpler for
be
them
simple,
to
you
just
trade
substitute
cards
it for
and
another
you,
one,
yeah.
in my
That's
opinion.
No, I think that was, okay, unless, again, discussion or, go ahead and make a motion. Any other discussion?
I
Go
make,
ahead.
Suzanne Soriano, I make a motion that we use the,
Access card.
yes, the pass.
I would, Boris Foster, I would second, that motion to use the access card. Any, discussion, further discussion? Okay, let's, who's want to go ahead,
Any objection?
any objection to that?
No.
So all, unanimously approved again, okay.
Very
So,
consensus today.
okay, yeah, and just didn't want to go over what we did already, so, sorry if I, seem like a stickler today, but we discussed all this last time and we should have voted on it, so, yes. And now D, and I think we were touching on this, how many free access cards per unit? And you know what, we had two comments about that, and I think they both went both ways. The one says, we're already paying for it if you're an owner, so it really doesn't make a difference. It's either you pay it now or you pay it in your November taxes. The other one says, let's pay it, nothing should be free. This is my opinion, about having everyone go out and pay for it. I think we should try to have it as, to maximize the distribution. If we have people having to, I mean, the cost is minimal, but having to go out and register, because I know there are owners 6-7 years that don't have it, that have 3-4 cars coming in and out, and they just haven't done it. I think, what we're talking about with the guest gates being the long lines backing up 5:30, I think we, if we're going to pay, if the owners are going to pay for it one way or another, I think we should try to maximize the distribution, and maybe in the initial run, have it like 2 cards per property. It's going to be paid for. Most of these owners, most properties, I believe, have at least 2 drivers, and and anything else, that it can be paid for. But to have it where we start out and the residence gate is just being partially used, and everyone's lining up at the visitors gate and using that as an incentive for them to come into town hall to get the passes, I don't think, I know it's going to happen, because I've had people come to me recently with the gates being down and said, I'm tired of waiting. And that's what brought them in after years and years. So that's my, either way, the owners are going to pay, but I think my idea is that we should try and maximize the distribution.
Something I'll say about 2 seconds is the homeowners are already paying something now. I think by distributing, just like you said too, we'll have a lot less negative feedback about the switching over to a new system, because they feel like they're already paying for something there that they're not even sure what they get, because except some hassles. So by giving everybody the 2, just like you said, we make it easier, I think, and make it more seamless, and it would be more positive for the many homeowners, like you said there now. So I would.
I
definitely
agree,
say-
especially at the cost. This is nothing. To be cheap just to cost people
Yeah.
annoyance. I think
Now,
that
replacement is
2
a
per
different
home,
story.
2 per
yeah.
home. Yeah, if you lose it, then you pay.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
One thing I unfortunately do have to leave. I have another town function that I have to go be a part of, but I leave you in great hands with Christina.
Okay.
Now, one thing I do want to mention, I know Christina has it noted as well, is we'll talk about that and the budget of how we're gonna fund this, and that'll also be a decision coming up now. So as we think about that, just I want to leave you guys on that note, because when it comes to when they pay, there is an option that they'll not be able to pay. It'll be absorbed within their actual assessment at this rate. However, that will leave us potentially at a detriment for the next year, which may call for an increase in the assessment.
That would be next year, you deal with that then.
Okay.
Just want to leave that on the table. That's my final note.
No.
You might be a politician.
But she does have options.
I have the
She does have
options to present.
She has options to delay into both.
Yes,
Have a great
absolutely.
evening, everyone.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you very much.
I'll text you if I need.
Thank you.
No, that's an after COVID.
Well, a lot of people already have two of these things, and so they're gonna say, wait a minute, you charge me for something I already been able to get into, and you're forcing me to go out and buy something, and register something new, and I'm already happy with what I got.
And I'm sure the town will be happier not having to get in and, you know, having 841 plus homes coming in and having to enter that would be a hassle that's really easily avoidable at these
I think they
prices.
will be very happy.
Yes,
I think everybody will be very happy.
Yes,
I think it's
And
the
that's-
easiest.
I mean, there'll always be somebody who's saying, well, this is not secure, but.
But the
90% of
security is
people
not
have it.
yet.
yeah. The only question I would have is if someone has gone out and purchased, I mean, and this would be, could we like work an exchange if they have more than the two? Because there are people who have four, and if they've recently purchased like one of the clickers,
If they've recently purchased it within the 90 days, we could just replace those.
okay, so.
And if they needed more,
Oh, no, well, yeah, they
Yeah,
can
that's
always,
fine.
they can
But I
always,
get-
they
if
can
you
always,
get
yeah.
two, you would get two.
Yeah, right.
But
That's
if
the way
you
it
wanted
normally is, right.
3 or 4, you'd have to purchase,
Okay,
If it's
Okay.
not a newer clicker,
if
correct?
it's not a new one.
You could
That's
put a
fair.
limit on how many somebody could buy?
okay.
No?
We don't currently, but
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I just asked.
No, there's some homes that have a lot.
Yeah, no, that's why there was someone that had at least 4 cars in it.
Yeah.
You know, they were just, I mean, they've been there for years, and I just, how do we get this? How do we, what? And yeah, it just became so burdensome for them to wait in these
They
lines.
don't read the tax bill.
Yeah, you pay for it every year, so go ahead.
And the cost would be minimal, right, to purchase an additional breaker?
right, especially with the ability to program them remotely, it wouldn't be very,
Okay.
Okay,
especially if we have any leftover ones. Hopefully ones, there'll be a few.
so like that, maybe about
Okay.
1,700 order upfront, and then,
Yep, that's what the quote is for 17, because they round to the.
okay. So so now that is D, do we, does anyone want to make a motion that, and I think we're decided on 2. Wait, and then we added something and 2 free clickers, and if anyone purchase within the 90 days prior to a 90-day period, then they can get those exchanged for free.
They'll get their 2 plus.
So yeah, because they purchased,
Correct.
They could exchange,
yes,
and if they wanted more than 2, they're able to purchase.
which they're always able to, yes.
And that's if they need it, because
If they
sometimes
need
you
it.
get into a situation where I bought the house, but I don't have clickers. So now I bought 2 clickers, but now I don't need to replace those 2 because I'm getting 2 brand new ones.
Okay.
Do you understand? So I think we'll be really good with doing it that way.
Okay. So, we want to make a motion on, that would be D.
I think James should do
Motion.
this one.
James, go ahead, make a motion to provide each house homeowner with 2 clickers. Is that what we're?
Each
Yes.
household. correct.
We get
Each household.
the
With 2
841,
Yeah.
having 2. I would second that.
Second, Xiomara
Thank you.
Castillo.
Any further discussion?
No.
Okay.
Seeing none, the motion passes.
No objections? No, okay. Both passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right, then, so finally, for the budget, we have two different options to consider, one that would affect this current fiscal year that we are in. As you guys know, we're planning to do the landscaping this year with the lighting. Man, this is exactly right in there. And so the landscaping, the shrubs, the trees, comes up to about $16,000. And then last meeting, we already voted to do that mail out by the end of this month. So taking out that cost, if we didn't do any more mail outs after the one that was already voted on, we'd have about 2,000. That brings us to 18,000 to cover the cost. Option two would be to take it from the reserves, but then, like we said, by next fiscal year, we'll be in a deficit. The resolution does state we have to keep reserves 10% minimum in reserves. So since we've got a deficit, we would need to increase the rate to make sure that we are in accordance with that resolution. It is 20-1654, if anybody needed to reference it.
Which can be rescinded.
One quick question on the landscaping is, I remember a couple meetings ago, when I was here, they approved. Actually,
The rendering.
rendering, I took it back to our board members and showed them, and everybody really was enjoyed and liked it. Are we still doing the exact same thing that was approved a couple meetings ago?
That's what the
The
plan
landscape.
is currently.
Okay.
However, in order to cover the cost of this enhancement, yeah, it's, the board would need to consider this. You guys don't have to make a decision right now on where these funds are coming from. The process for ordering this, which is why we needed a special call, it's gonna take a little time to get the infrastructure in. As everybody knows, deliveries are delayed. You know, there is a delay in receiving regular deliverables that pre-COVID, there was no issue. So we're looking at 45 to 60 days until these items are actually shipped to us. So hopefully less, but you know, we have to give on the long end. But these are the options in terms of funding this, the newer technology. So landscaping, so that would change what the rendering would look like. The lighting and the electrical would still get installed, so those light poles would still get installed. But maybe instead of doing the trees and the shrubs for this fiscal, you have the option of just putting grass, not as pretty as the rendering. However, your budget is balanced. So, or take it from the reserves, and then it goes, you know, then next year's rate would need to go up slightly. Yes.
I have a question. The 10% minimum reserve, how much is that? How much what's the value of 10%?
It might be somewhere around 41,000.
Well, because that can be changed to 5. We don't have to have a 10%. We can have a 5% reserve. That
By the resolution?
By the rest,
I
it can be
believe, okay. If, I'll have to double check that. I don't.
I mean, we can amend the rest to lower to 5, so we don't have to go into all that, but that would be for next year. I will not do something this year because I'm gonna worry about the reserve next year. I mean, next year.
I just look at the landscape, we promise a lot of people.
We're talking
it's gonna look
COVID,
good
yeah.
to do that stuff.
But I will look into lowering the reserve. I don't believe that is mandatory at 10%. I think we could have it at 5. If you at 5%, then you have enough money, you don't have to do any adjustments.
Well, you know, I think, well, my, I mean, the reserves are there. And I'm just not looking at the resolution or anything like that. Because of situations like this, I would think, you know, you have a reserve. I mean, if you never use the reserve, then there would have been no reason to have the reserve. So I think it's for a situation like this where unexpected matters, price increases as such come about, and we dip into it. And what Maribel says, I mean, to come out, do it all at once, it's probably going to be a lot better than come out and then in the long run cost more. You know, dig up the grass that's now growing and to put in the vegetation that you want. Might be just better to do it now, and I don't think prices are going to. I am amazed that the price is still the same. We passed that so long ago, so I'm really amazed that you know we had an ironclad contract because they really should have gone up quite a bit. But yes, I'm sorry, Susan.
No, and I think that the residents will be really happy to see the whole kit and caboodle, the lighting, the landscaping, the new gates, the clickers. I think it could be really
The
positive,
tax dollars at work.
you know? And so instead of having so many.
Well, so it's like the
complaints-
sign says, is your money at work?
Yeah.
So at least I have something to see.
That, we might have to install a few of those during the process of the work anyhow, so it's,
At least we'll have something
relevant.
they can see.
Absolutely.
And I would say, don't slow it down. It's been on the table so long that this might actually be still around by the next time the budget rolls
I know,
around
I know.
again. So, no, it's actually true.
You're not wrong. I mean,
You know, so,
Like
I
five
have one
board
more
members,
question. Are those renderings
simple staff
available?
people.
The renderings that you were talking about, are there any, I've never seen them on me, so I can be obviously.
I
Are they
sent
available
them,
somewhere?
I can send
with
it.
the-
Well, I'll send it to you.
I'll send it to you
Okay.
because I thought that that email that I sent, the rendering, the contract, I sent it all very recently.
Okay,
you
I
said-
I'm not seeing.
I was gonna email you, but I said, it's for another meeting.
Right.
It wasn't in there. There were two
It
things
wasn't
that
in there?
wasn't there.
No.
It wasn't.
Okay.
But I have it. I'll send it to you just in case.
No, I have it. I
Okay,
definitely have it.
fantastic.
I'll
Okay.
definitely
It
send it to
wasn't
you.
in there.
Was it on there?
Yeah,
I
there
was
are
gonna
two
say
things.
that, I was confused.
Yeah, no, but I
It was
wasn't
the
going to bring up two
painting
things.
that
It
was
was
in
the
there.
painting
That's
that was
what,
in there.
okay, that painting rendering.
We have three of them,
Got you.
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
so yes, I will send that to you.
Yeah.
And
So
the first
the
thing.
The thing that we're missing is that, and then, of course, when you have the minutes, right? Because you said you would send it.
Yes.
Yes, and I didn't receive them just yet, but I know that she's
That's
working
fine.
on them.
So those are the
Mhm.
two things.
The rendering, absolutely.
Christina, and I need you to please change the email, and my telephone number is also wrong in your
Absolutely.
thing, so
But
I have not been getting anything.
oh,
Really?
No.
Oh, yes, I will change it immediately.
and I mean, I didn't know, I don't know if there was anything else about the landscape and lighting discussion. Because I'm going to circle back again, but I don't want to interrupt the discussion that's going on. Was there anything else that, oh, okay,
No, I just want to say that I think people are going to be very happy if they see a change, if they see
I
that
think so,
something is
too.
happening, because everybody's getting very impatient.
Yeah.
They're all asking, what's going on, what's, why.
And one thing they've seen was one lady close.
I sent something out in August saying this is what we're
I
gonna
thought they
have by
were putting the lighting
September. I don't send it out anymore.
Yeah.
I say when it starts, they have it. What I was gonna circle back to is actually, the question of distribution of the cards. Is that just gonna be by, postage or delivery? How is that, are we gonna pick it up? And the reason I bring it up is because we would definitely want these cards in the owner's hands before the technology.
right.
Yeah, so that there's maximum use right away. So how do you envision doing this?
So it would definitely be a phased approach as there's 841 different households. So it would probably something around the area of by doing sections. So if you live in this section, your distribution date is going to be Monday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you live in this section, Tuesday, we would do it like that. And then obviously additional dates for anybody that was not able to make it within that time. So that's kind of just preliminarily,
So people come into town hall.
not necessarily town hall, Mary Collins Community Center is a
Oh,
much
okay,
closer
perfect,
location.
perfect.
And
Yes.
as long as we can secure one of those rooms for the evening, we should be fine,
Oh,
even if,
okay.
Yeah.
So that way it's closer, it's right there,
Right.
you know.
Okay. Okay, good.
So they would need to be registered, obviously, the cards would need to be registered, so there goes that portion of, we would have to enter it in to get their information. However, their old cards will still work until the full changeover happens. So we can definitely plan to, get everything up and running prior to.
So,
Can people go online in advance and fill out that form online and then show up and then they're looked up and then just handed it when they show up?
That sounds like it may be an option as well. That would probably be a great
you do
option to
now.
have
That's
an
how you do it now,
online
right?
component. That is how we do it now. We still do the paper for those who don't,
Yeah.
aren't easy, cannot maneuver through the website and the online registration that we have for the cards now. But that's definitely an option because
I mean, it's easier if you just did it on home and they just walk in and pick it up and just sign something and go, than having to do it right then.
Wait, and you know, what you're speaking about with the, I mean, the mail out, I mean, this would be something, I mean, how would that information be communicated to the owners? Or would that be something that would be in the mail out? I mean, we're talking about a mail out, but we haven't, I think, 100% locked down what's going to be in the mail out. But this sounds
We
like
did
something
last
that needs
meeting.
to, we did?
Last meeting, a motion was made for the mail out that was
That
presented.
was true.
Those three, the three different forms that, that we had in front of us that day. So that one, and the motion was to have it sent out within the month. So that means before next month. So that means the end of October.
Then I would.
But I agree with you. If there's going to be a change moving forward, I think maybe that should be revisited. Should we, I mean, we would probably need to open up order of business, make a motion to add item, it would be a new business, well, it'd be old because we already discussed the mail out last meeting. So add back the mail out and then make a motion on postponing the mail out until we have, or just removing the click card application from it, because there was 3 components.
Yes, I mean, yeah, and actually, we do have something about the distribution method, which would actually fall right in the, of what we're discussing and be part, so, yes, but it would, to send out the mail out without having that information in it about how to get the new card, I mean, I don't know how else we're going to get information to everyone.
It could be a second mail out. Well, yes,
It does cost.
it does cost. I think we have budgeted 5 mail outs for, but
Can you
again,
reconsider, can we just reconsider that vote that was taken?
Yeah, just add, well, or add.
we just need to add it to the agenda in order to make a motion for it. So you would need to open up order of business and add it under additions and then make the motion for it.
Okay, so I will make a motion that we add to this agenda the matter regarding the mail out and specifically to discuss the distribution or information for the distribution of access cards to be added in the mail out.
So that would be item E1, since it falls right under that topic. We'll put mail out alteration. What did you call it?
I would say just an
Amendment.
additional, it just,
Amendment.
We're gonna amend.
To include
Yeah.
distribution.
All right, so we have a motion on the table.
and actually to remove the, I mean, it's gonna just complicate, someone gets one and then, and then purchases one and then we have to replace it. Well, not to confuse it, just the addition, let's just leave it to, they can figure it out. When they see there are gonna be new ones, if they still want to come in, that's up to them.
Don't be so sure.
They should be able to figure this one out. Okay, yes, so the motion, you were saying, you were proposing a motion, Christina.
I can't propose a motion. I was just putting the number 1 under E.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so the motion's on the table.
okay.
Do you want to repeat it for the record, since there was a lot of discussion under?
Me or Maribel, do you want to do it?
You see, that would be voting on this one, since I voted against the first.
Oh, okay, okay,
So
This is a new item now, so I can.
okay.
But I think we're just amending the language that was voted on to include the instructions for the new clicker and the new, how the homeowners are gonna be able to request or.
Well, the motion is to make an addition to the agenda. So if that could
Oh,
move
okay.
forward, then we could
Okay,
say
okay.
the language.
So we were
Yes.
still in that.
Sorry, I know
procedure.
it's so
Sorry.
convoluted.
We're in that process, okay.
Yes.
I make the motion to add this item to the agenda under E1 to be able to discuss the amending the language on the mail out.
I second the motion to amend the contents of the mail.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
A motion and a second, did you second?
Yes, I
Yeah,
second the
right,
motion.
second.
Okay.
Anyone opposed?
No.
No, okay. So we can discuss it now?
All those in favor?
All those in
Yes.
favor, yes,
Aye.
okay.
Seeing no opposition, the motion passes. So now it's.
And so I'm just proposing that we add in the mail out instructions. And the mail out is, doesn't go out until a timetable is determined and instructions of how we will process, I guess we're doing it by associations, to come to the Mary Collins to register to get a new plea card. So that will be, all that information will be included in the one mail out that was approved in last meeting.
So we're doing two things, we're amending the language and amending the timeline.
Correct.
When it was going to mail.
You're gonna send a mail out just to educate them, and this is before we have the clickers?
Well, last meeting, we did agree, we did vote to do a mail out.
Before, okay.
Yes, and now this is the information about the distribution. We're now considering adding that to the mail out. Otherwise, and the Mary Collins information, what they will need to bring in. You've done this, so you know what it will.
You're pretty confident you can get the clickers and all, I mean, you mail out stuff too early.
What,
That's-
We're changing the timeline, right?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
changing the timeline.
Timeline for the mail out.
We're changing the timeline.
Okay,
We need to
okay.
make sure we have them in hand
Yeah,
because
the
of,
hand and the
distribution
saves are
delivery,
set. yeah,
correct, correct.
You're gonna end up with that.
So we'll no longer, we're not going to do the mail out until we have the, well, if
Okay.
the motion gets a second and it passed, then we'll.
Okay.
There is a motion on the table.
but,
Second,
you want to repeat? Okay, second.
Seconded by,
Maribel Baldwin.
And any opposed? All in favor? Reverse, okay, aye. That's everyone unanimous? Okay,
the
thank
motion
you.
passes.
Christina, I just have a comment. Can we get an article in the Laker about this?
About the click cards.
About the whole change and what's going to happen, sort of like additional information for people in the Laker.
There is a-
Because people do read it, people do read
People do
the
read
Laker.
it. I mean, we could definitely look at that. There's definitely a cost for advertising at that
Not
point, which we
advertising, just
pay
get-
anyways.
See if we can get.
Once
an-
our meetings are
just getting
listed
an
in the
article.
Laker.
Just getting an article, not
An
an article. Getting them to write an article. They do it all the time.
Okay,
And I know those boards are pretty fixed what they're, is there any way we could get like cheaply to put on those sandwich boards right in front, that when it's available, we could say Lake Cynthia, I know, tonight to pick up Lake, the
Yeah,
Anchorage.
signage. So we have, we should have
signage to
signage.
include it. We could look at signage as well. The three A-frames that we have now were just under 900 for those three to have them printed as such.
But just that one card in front, I know where you would go. We
It's
recently
a
did it.
card on both sides.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's on both sides, but maybe we can utilize those and have just something
Slip
printed
it.
and have
Slip
it
it
on
in.
top of it.
Is it
It's not a
Velcro?
slip-in. It's not a
It's not a
Velcro.
slip-in.
Really?
It's the actual sign.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a slip-in. I have to go and physically write when we have a meeting and erase it after, otherwise I need gasoline to get it off. It is a struggle if you leave it for too long.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought it was, yeah, something.
There
new.
are some that are slip-in and you have the
Yeah.
option of removing it and taking it off.
Yeah, I thought that what it was. Okay.
But we can look at getting just a 3x2 thing printed and put on top of those, letting the residents know
Okay, yeah.
the week of
pick
their
up.
distribution. That's definitely an option. And it
Okay.
should be
Just to
cost.
maximize, those, because yes, otherwise the backups and the confusion and it's right there, it's the easiest time to get it.
absolutely.
So, yeah. So I am sorry, I took everything out of order. I just wanted to circle back to, okay, so the distribution of cards, that I think we've covered all the items, but go ahead, with your,
Anything else on my end? I don't think there was anything else. This was a super productive meeting. We were able to get everything that we needed to move forward. We can now give direction to go ahead and proceed with ordering the items. By the next meeting, I may need to add that to the agenda. The next meeting is November, I believe, 23rd? November 23rd, which is a Tuesday. It is the week of Thanksgiving. We have a meeting that evening. I know, that's why instead of the Wednesday, we moved it to Tuesday to kind of make it, a little bit better, but we'll definitely add that item to the agenda to discuss where we are with everything since the ordering process and everything like that, so.
okay.
Mr. Chair,
Over here.
would this be the right time during the meeting if I want to make a motion to reopen the public hearing so we can hear the one person that? came
Please,
late?
yeah, sure.
Make a
sure.
motion to reopen public hearing,
Public comments.
I second that
the
motion.
public.
I said, any opposed?
Sorry, state your name that you're,
Maribel Baldwin, making a motion to reopen, public comment to accommodate the one resident that attended the community.
Boris Foster, I second that motion. Any opposed?
discussion.
Okay. You go.
May I?
Yeah.
Motion passes.
I only have one simple question, which has got two parts.
Please
One,
state your name and your
my
address.
first name is Maria Dalmo, Dalmau. I live in 147, 42 Brecknes Place, Miami Lakes, Florida. It's also called Lake Cynthia. And I would love to know, I'm sorry for my ignorance. I found out about this meetings because of that poster where you write so nice. Is that your handwriting? It's very nice.
Most of them are like, yeah. Thank you.
However, how was this board elected? How did this start and how do you guys advise? I only see 1, 2, are you also one of the homeowners association? 1, 2, 3, 4 homeowners represented here. How many are there in our area?
7.
7. That means we only have 4. And how do the people know? Because everybody that I ask, nobody knows what's going on. Huh?
Yeah,
No.
there's 5.
No,
There's five
I meant
here.
7 in total homeowner. I
Yeah,
thought you meant
7 in
that's
total,
what.
7. So there we are 5, right?
Yes, there are 5.
5.
Well, the other homeowners.
This
people
one
aren't here.
time is
They're
5,
just
last
not here.
time it's only, what, it was only 3.
No.
No.
We can't have a meeting with 3, so it wasn't 3.
Well,
It was 4, I
anyways.
think, yes.
You know, there was a nice, very nice lady, Helen, that was present. I don't know what association she represents. However, how do the homeowners associations, how do they compile the information of what the residents or the owners want?
Is that the
Most
end
the-
of the comment? Sorry.
That's my question, because my association has never told us that this was going on or what is being discussed here.
You're with Lake Cynthia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. That's a public comment?
That is
Done?
it.
Thank you.
I
All
would-
right,
I would-
so did you wish to?
I would take it up with your board of directors and Lake Cynthia, they should be.
Well, the president is part of your board.
Yeah, no, but they asked them why they got, because each association is supposed to be able to talk to.
If
their
I can add a
people.
comment to that, I mean, I came to the meeting because I saw the sign. My association, Alexandra, the president had not attended any of the meetings, so I texted her right then and there. I said, what's going on? And I
Yeah.
said, can I be your designee? And I was appointed right then.
No.
But I only found out because of the sign. So the association has not been meeting. My association hasn't been meeting because of COVID.
Yeah, I know there was COVID.
So I think this has been a very like,
Everybody
not
got
very
lost
well
out.
communicated. And I'm exactly.
Just like next week, I can't be, I'll be in Egypt next meeting, so.
Wow, everyone's going to Egypt.
Emails.
So, well, you know what? I know with Lakeland, each association designates a representative that the council then appoints to the committee. And the theory behind it, and that's why it came from the county about, I think in 2016 to Miami Lakes, was that we did not have input, and the homeowners associations were supposed to communicate with their members and get feedback from their members on, and so you should know. I can only speak for my association. We communicate every month. We send out emails about what happens. We send out the notice, the pictures, everything. But that is up to the representative to bring that member back. I know some associations, they.
No, we don't do a good job at all. Since COVID happened, I came back and showed them like the landscape, just some of the people on the board there, that was the end of it. People aren't communicating at all hardly anymore.
Well, in my
So it's
association,
not-
You're accurate,
same thing, a lot of people
we
who-
have
Not in
discussed it
much
a
of that
couple
goes
of
along.
times in the last 2 meetings, how to communicate with the homeowners. So
You have a feeling of what people want. Because
we
you-
try to discuss it with whoever we can and let them know what's going on. And let them know that these meetings are open to the public, and if they're interested, they should come to find out what's going on. But it has really been a problem to communicate with all the homeowners. first of all, because people don't attend the meetings.
That's what I say. You go to board meetings, usually
So,
one
even
homeowner.
when we have
Two.
these meetings, I tell everybody in the board that, these meetings are happening, please come and, find out what's going on, because it's in everybody's interest. So we are thinking maybe, to put something in the webpage of the association, or, we still haven't decided how to communicate with everybody, but we're just in discussion. on how to do it.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I personally plan to go to the next meeting and report, but
Right.
nobody had asked me to do it.
That's what I do.
It's
I
been,
report to our board members, and that's as far as it goes.
Exactly.
It just ends there.
Or whoever comes to
Thank
me.
okay,
But I will tell you, once the letter goes out,
yeah.
then, we get a copy of this letter that explains what we do and what we, then that will be a help.
And when you start changing this access to.
Yeah.
Everybody will know about it then, I'll guarantee you.
And like I said in the previous meeting, the boards have been really very good,
Yes.
because, it lets people know, and in the previous meeting, more homeowners came because of the board, because they saw it and they came, but today, just.
well, the 5:30 time is
It's very
not a
difficult.
good one.
Well, this
can
isn't
only-
our
I can-
regular time.
I know, I mean, I
This
can
is a
only-
special call because we needed to make.
I can do that now, but,
No, I
3
know.
months ago, downtown to Miami Lakes, to meet
No,
up
not
with her,
gonna
it would
make it.
never happen.
I believe
no.
it. All right, I think we're,
Okay, any other discussion? I'm gonna, or otherwise, a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second,
A
state your
second.
name, please.
James Curry.
I'm
motion
Maribel
to-
Walden,
Uh,
for the new duo.
Who was the second?
Second by Maribel Walden.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, meeting adjourned.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
door will open. I'm sorry?
The door will open.
Yeah,
here
you can
without
push it
any
right
help?
out. I was gonna talk to you for a little bit, why, just to give you a little information
I got.
About what? about just everything.
No, no, no,
So
I'm aware.
you're good now,
Let
you
me just-
understand?
It's just that I
Okay.
cannot
My
understand
neighbor,
why
she writes me
they
from
don't have the
Egypt.
feedback.
Let me see if I have it. Okay, it was so
How
funny.
can they make the
Let me
decision?
see, so funny.
Yeah, so we
And I know
we
it.
hope this,
Oh, no, no,
what
she said it's still
Your
hot,
chair
you know,
is
like,
the
I was,
representative.
where was she at?
And they hook the-
She said, she was, it was funny.
Yeah,
It's
no, I know,
very
it's tough
funny
with the
because she
COVID
was-
and getting back to the normal and having meetings.
No, we have a Zoom meeting.
But,
It's true.
You need to communicate and get the
Yeah,
feedback
she
of
was,
the
she
people in
was
order to
just
make a
saying, she
decision.
was,
and everything.
she looked
Absolutely,
like
I would
she was
definitely
having a
reach out to
fantastic
your
time.
HOA's board and
She was Indonesia for a little bit.
you know, that's the only thing, it's
No,
run by,
you know,
they're run by volunteers, right? They're run by
She
volunteers.
wants to talk with spirit, and she had a fantastic, you know,
Sorry?
she is.
I can tell there's a certain
Yeah.
QR code on it
Yeah,
or
but
a
that's what I'm
stamp
saying,
on
you
the
tell them they
thing.
need to.
72 hours and
So yeah, you're
90
gonna tell them
hours.
what
We have-
They don't accept our vaccine cards because we don't have the QR code on our vaccine.
Let me ask, I mean, if she comes back,
Absolutely.
Thank
I
you so
think the
much.
You're
20th,
very welcome,
but
thank you
if
ladies for
she,
coming.
I mean, if you don't,
You're
I
good,
mean,
my love.
I have your email, I'll ask if you want any information, and she's coming back. She's gonna be back like October,
October
20th.
20th.
Yeah, she'll be back, I said it wrong.
Back the day
Um,
before Thanksgiving.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry, I'm
No, you
missing
would
that
be
meeting.
able
That
to
was a
Zoom,
good
you could
job, I
submit
appreciate
public
it.
comment.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate you saying that, thank you, sir. I mean, I really, okay.
I hope I didn't put in too much,
If
because
they
I
don't
have
have
been
more,
in
we
meetings,
will
so.
have that
so I
meeting, and then
I
we'll just have
agree
to
with
wait
you, and
until
I mean,
the
I
next
know.
meeting, or maybe we can look for a different meeting date, but then you go to December, the end of December, it's gonna be the 6th.
I said, "You're
So,
not gonna make it
you know,
to
I'm here
the
earlier.
I
I can discuss with the board, and if that's a consensus with multiple, we can try to get that meeting moved.
To me, it's having a guard there right there. is the best.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, so
understand that.
generally, my
They
meeting
don't
it
do
was very
nothing.
productive. I'm
That
super proud of
is the
everyone.
beauty.
And then
Come see me because they can
Exactly,
definitely-
exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
just
let's
have
go
to
right
share
back
it.
to it.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll send, I'll get the. I'll
Exactly,
tell
you know how
you
that
get it,
goes.
I'll send it.
So that's awesome. You guys do great. Thank you again for coming.
That was a good meeting.
I think we finally got something going. If we can get the supply chain going.
I know it, right? I know it.
That'd be great.
You got it. We're gonna make moves, guys. Oh, thank you so much, Doris. You guys are awesome.
Thank
Good
you.
meeting, have a good night. Get home safe, everybody.
YouTube.
Que pasen buenas noches.
De igual manera, hasta luego.
Gracias.